All right, everyone, have a seat. Court is in session. Welcome to AMC Versus. Today, we are going to be discussing Ted versus 21 Jump Street. What's the better film? We have Erin Darling over here, and she will be arguing for the film Ted. And over here we have John Campea, and he will be arguing for the film 21 Jump Street. I'm Judge Schnepp. You viewers are going to have to decide. Down there in the description of this video, you'll find a link where you can vote on which film you think is the better comedy, Ted or 21 Jump Street. Let's get this going. We're going to have our opening remarks. It's going to be 2.5 minutes. Erin will be doing the opening remarks. We'll be starting it, and she has 2.5 minutes to go, and start now.
When it comes to the best comedy of 2012, the winner is clearly Ted over 21 Jump Street for a couple of reasons. One of them being financial success. The second one being the fact that there is a bigger impact because it was an original movie and it was a more risky endeavor.
Your Honor.
Objection!
Can my esteemed colleague explain to me what box office results have to do with quality?
Oh, we're not debating qualities. What was the better comedy? So I guess we should define the terms of what was the better comedy.
Better?
How
this
is that
when
defined?
Does money equal better?
Because
lots
it
of
is
bad movies
determined-
make lots of money. Lots of great movies make no money. It has nothing to do with the quality of the film, Your Honor.
As determined by the popularity of the voters.
Objection sustained.
As in the viewers.
I will let that objection go on. We are going to talk just simply about the film. It could have been a box office bomb, but if you think it's funny, that's what we're talking about, why it's a good film. So let's rock on. Go ahead.
Oh, it was a completely original film. So Ted is a movie that Seth MacFarlane basically came up with, opposed to 21 Jump Street, which is a tried and true property that existed on TV, launching the careers of some very successful people that, if for no other reason, can be considered successful and a fame-breaking platform for people, hence giving the familiarity, and Ted did not have that benefit going into it. However, it was still able to be highly successful, and a lot of people really, really loved this film. It was even nominated for Academy Award, which you cannot say about 21 Jump Street. So this original concept was the first time that Seth MacFarlane was going to direct anything live action that's full length. And it was so interesting because it was a huge risk going into that. It's a teddy bear movie. It's about a talking teddy bear. The fact that anyone went to go see it, even with Seth behind it, is fascinating and amazing, and a lot of people really supported this. Now, when you're defining best comedy, you can basically kind of make that up based on any kind of platform. I mean, if we're not using financial success
to
determine this, here's a couple of questions I have for you guys in the audience. Which comedy 2012 featured the one and only Professor X, Patrick Stewart as the narrator? Ted. Which comedy 2012 featured the theme song of Flash Gordon? What? Ted. Which comedy 2012 featured the incomparable hotness of Mila Kunis? Again, Ted. You guys noticing a pattern here? Which debater has golden note cards? Erin Darling, in defense of Ted. I rest my case. In closing, comedy is subjective. Everyone has a different way of measuring it, but you can rely on numbers, despite what John Campea says, based on popularity and in terms of financial success. The numbers are there, and the facts are there. Not only that, but internet, you guys can vote for whatever personal favorite movie you have that you think was the best comedy in 2012. But Ted is purely the best choice in terms of impact, in terms of even global scope. If you look at the people that even saw this movie or supported it, it has nothing to do with what 21 Jump Street was able to accomplish. It also accomplished a rare feat for an R-rated comedy.
All right, that's what we've got. 2.5 minutes. Erin Darling. We're going to reset the clock, and John Campea is going to talk about 21 Jump Street, and go.
Thank you, Your Honor. Look, there is no denying that the film Ted is an excellent comedy. These are two fantastic comedies. I think most of us up here will agree were the two best, but the best was 21 Jump Street. And there are several things that the film itself accomplished that do speak to the quality of the film. As Erin Darling pointed out, hey, it wasn't original. It was based on an old TV show. Show me the track record of success of old TV comedies brought to feature-length films. The fact that 21 Jump Street was beloved and high quality is an achievement that really no other old TV comedy to full-length feature film has ever accomplished. It's never been done, and yet this film did it. That's just one of the reasons this is one of the best things. Now, also, let's look at one of the stars.
Okay.
Objection. We're stopping the clock.
Can you prove that it's never been done?
Can you disprove it? You're objecting. The onus is on you.
No, it's not.
Yes, yeah. You're.
It's
What
on
is
the
your
person
objection?
that said it to have the information.
All right, I'm going to have to just deny that objection. Let's start over. Go ahead.
All right, let's look at the career of Channing Tatum. Now, many people, myself included admittedly, were big Channing Tatum critics as far as his acting ability goes going into 21 Jump Street. But he did something a lot of people didn't really think he could do. He broke out and showed himself as being a comedic genius, and 21 Jump Street gave him that platform to do it, to which he seized and gave us, I still personally believe, the best performance he's given us in his career. Obviously, that's open for interpretation. It also gave us the great Brie Larson, who's now being recognized as one of the hottest young actresses in this business. And listen, it also started a grand, wonderful spiritual awakening in America as we all learn to embrace the love of Korean Jesus. That cannot be denied. Now, the other advantage that 21 Jump Street has over Ted is that 21 Jump Street actually has a narrative story. When you look at Ted, it's basically a random collection of various jokes and skits thrown together with a little something with Giovanni Ribisi thrown at the end to give it something that looks like a story. But in 21 Jump Street, it actually follows a narrative. You have a couple of cops trying to infiltrate and break up the problem of drugs in high school in America. Now, was it a really great Oscar-worthy narrative? No. But it was a story nonetheless that adhered to and followed through really well. Plus, we can't ignore the brilliance of the directors, Phil Lord and Chris Miller. At first, we looked at this team and thought, wait a minute, these are the guys who gave us Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? How can they possibly give us a great comedy? And yet they did, and we see an extension of that genius with their new film, The Lego Movie. When you look at the story, what it did for Channing Tatum, how it also proved to us once again that Jonah Hill can revitalize himself in comedy even after getting an Oscar nomination for another film, and the fact that it accomplished what another film had really done by turning a beloved old sitcom into a successful comedy narrative feature film, it just can't be denied. These are two funny films. These are two very high-quality films. But as a whole, overall, as a comedy, 21 Jump Street is clearly the winner.
2:30 on the dot. All right, let's go to the rebuttal section. Each person has 90 seconds to rebut the other person. Let's start with Erin. Your rebuttal. Hold on one second. We're going to start, and now.
In terms of comedies, yes, they're both great films, but 21 Jump Street was released in March against movies like Casa de Mi Padre and Jeff Who Lives at Home. Ted was released in the last weekend of June in the middle of the whole summer blockbuster season against movies like Magic Mike, Medea's Witness Protection Program, People Like Us, and Take This Waltz. So in terms of competition, it still did better and it was still more successful.
Your Honor.
Objection.
Once again, my esteemed competitor here is trying to draw some type of correlation between box office success and the quality of the film. When the film is released, what does that have to do with the quality of the film, whether it was released in January or on Christmas Day?
My point was competition in terms of how it did at the box office, in terms of people that wanted to see it and support it.
We had thrown out the box office. We can't talk about money, so objection sustained. Let's not
talk about... In terms of popularity, people that made that choice to see that movie.
You lost! Move on!
Yeah, that's just referring to the monetary gain of the film. Let's talk about the...
That's not the monetary gain of the film. That is...
I win!
That is...
No.
A popularity argument about the competition of other movies that released.
We're not going to talk about the popularity. We're just talking about the film itself, but we're not going to talk about the money. So.
Okay. Well, so this movie was also Oscar nominated, as I'll bring up again, proving that it was also critically acclaimed as well. When you're talking about brilliant directors, you can also say that Seth MacFarlane is definitely an amazing director, and he proved it here. He had already done things on TV. He hadn't had experience that the other directors had making movies or writing them. He did both for this movie, and it did extremely well. Not only that, but who wants to go back to high school? Who wants to go back and relive that fantasy? Comedies are about having fun and being entertained and reliving a fantasy or creating a completely original fantasy that you can get on board for and enjoy for about 2 hours of your time. Ted did that better than 21 Jump Street. It's also accomplishing a very rare feat for an R-rated comedy. It's relatable.
Right,
it made you laugh.
So we will go to John Campea.
All right, so for my rebuttal, there are two main points I have to point out here. First of all, is my esteemed competitor keeps trying to go back again and again to the idea that making money at the box office means it was a great movie. So, of course, according to her, Transformers 3 must be a better film than 12 Years a Slave, since it made so much more money at the box office. So I do rebuke that sort of approach of hers. But also, on a couple of occasions here, my esteemed colleague has brought up the fact that, hey, Ted had an Academy Award nomination. That sounds very impressive. Oh wait, did she fail to mention what the Academy Award nomination was for? The Academy Award nomination that Ted got was for Best Music in a Film Original Song. I'm not really sure how Best Song Academy Award nomination lends itself to proving that Ted is a better comedy than 21 Jump Street.
It shows that there's critical support and acclaim behind it.
All right. Objection sustained.
So to continue my rebuttal of the arguments that Erin has made, the thing about money, the thing about the Academy Awards, and also she wants to keep going back. She wants to talk about the competition it was released against. Look, it doesn't matter when I see a movie. When I see a movie, I want to judge how good the movie is. It doesn't matter what else opened that week, what opens after it, what opens before it. We're talking about the movie in and of itself. My esteemed competitor, Erin, unfortunately, she drew the short end of the straw in here. I mean, she has the weaker argument, and that's not her fault. That's just the fact that Ted is not the better film than 21 Jump Street, as I've proved here today.
All right, Erin, you have 45 seconds for your closing argument.
As brought up before, what defines best comedy was clearly not outlined before either one of us got into this debate today. I believe that a best comedy can be defined by many different things. You can choose what you think is better based on financial success, critical acclaim, or just what your personal tastes are, but that cannot be measured. The things that can be measured are the things that I brought up in my argument in terms of what the impact was and how well it did, especially for an original movie, without the benefit of familiarity going into it. It's also to say that something is not, that you can't hold up the Oscar nomination just because it's for original song. That's also a song that was part of the movie and part of the entire impact and in part of the cultural movement that happened because of Ted.
Right, that'll be time for your closing argument. John Campea, you have 45 seconds, closing argument.
Thank you, Your Honor. Once again, to sum up my argument about why 21 Jump Street is the superior film, look at what it accomplished. It did something that no other film had done before, basing off of old material like an old sitcom. It did it really well, best that's ever happened in Hollywood. It really endeared Channing Tatum as a legit leading A-man list Hollywood, especially in comedy. This is where he found his stride. Tons of memorable moments, an actual ongoing story throughout the film, unlike Ted. For these reasons and many other, Erin wants to muddy the waters by talking about how much money it made and some completely unrelated Oscar nomination as far as a comedy goes. Don't be fooled, folks. 21 Jump Street is obviously the better film.
All right, so that'll be it. Just need to use this gavel a few more times. All right, ultimately, this decision is going to be up to you guys, the viewers. You're going to be able to judge, pick which film you think is the better film based on these guys' arguments, Ted or 21 Jump Street. It's up to you. My vote is going to go, simply because of the box office thing that kept getting mentioned, is going to go towards John Campea. I think both of them are really great films. They both did good arguments, but box office doesn't matter. It's what the film is.
As a tribute to Seth MacFarlane, allow me to say, victory is mine! All right.
All right, so victory is not John Campea's yet.
Until you say so.
You have to judge. So ultimately, you viewers are going to decide whether Erin Darling is right or John Campea. Either Ted or 21 Jump Street. It's up to you. Now go vote.
If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to AMC Movie News on YouTube. It's free and a great way to stay updated with all the latest movie news and check out our daily show, AMC Movie Talk. Also, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Twitter to stay in the loop for our special prizes, giveaways, and contests.